Hello there, and welcome to Blue Harvest Vintage Toys. On this video, I'm going to be talking about the top 5 iconic toys. So number 5, we're going to start off with the G1 Transformers Soundwave. Soundwave began his life as a micro-change toy cassette man, and went mostly unchanged when he was imported by Hasbro to become a part of the Transformers toy line. Save for the exclusion of some accessories and the removal of a moulded cassette man logo and MC10 on his cassette door, he transforms into a realistic sized blue and silver micro cassette recorder, complete with an opening cassette door that can accommodate any of the numerous mini cassette figures, and came packaged with buzzsaw to fully exploit and advertise this interactive gimmick. Soundwave is armed with a shoulder-mounted cannon and a handheld concussion blaster, which both transform into imitation batteries that store in a compartment in his back, while he is in his alternative mode. The Hasbro instructions mistakenly state that a pair of trapezoid-shaped stickers intended to decorate these batteries should be attached to Soundwave's legs. Takara's release of Soundwave reinstated the extra cassette man accessory that Hasbro had excluded from their release, a set of headphones and a microphone, but non-functioning. To further emulate cassette man, Takara's Soundwave came with rumble rather than buzzsaw, and a clear plastic case that he could fit into in tape mode. Originally, the cassette man release, the figure came with either rumble, frenzy or laserbeak, and different releases and copies varied. Soundwave's rocket launch feature had a spring-loaded firing mechanism that Hasbro had removed, as they did with all the such features at the time. Takara also made a running change in the mould, resculpting the recessed buttons on Soundwave's pelvis into one solid protruding piece, and moving the cassette door's hinge to inside the figure's chest to allow external position to the side of the new button assembly. This modification became the standard for all subsequent reuses of the Soundwave mould. Aside from the aforementioned button remold, Soundwave's first notable modification of the addition of a heat-sensitive RUP sign to his chest in 1985, the popularity of Soundwave and his interactive tape gimmick was evident from an early stage. His toy continued to be sold throughout 1986, and after the vast majority of his 1984 brethren had been removed from toy shelves, and the mini cassette partners continued to be produced for him even after this, through to 1988. Soundwave was subsequently reissued several times over the years. In Europe, Soundwave was released in 3 different subsequent versions that were mostly notable due to the packaging variations. The first release was 1985, was manufactured by Takara, and figured a Milton Bradley logo on the packaging. The second version, released in 1986, was also manufactured by Takara, and now featured a Hasbro logo on its packaging. The third version, also released in 1986, was now manufactured by Seiji, the parent company of Joestra, but still featured a Hasbro logo on its packaging. So the accessories for the Hasbro release were buzzsaw, rocket launcher, 3 rockets and concussion blaster. The accessories for the Takara main release was rumble, tape cassette, rocket launcher, 3 rockets, headphones, microphone and concussion blaster. And the accessories for the Takara cassette man release were rumble or frenzy or laserbeak, tape case, rocket launcher, 3 rockets, headphones, microphone, and a concussion blaster. And the reason I've gone for Soundwave over Optimus Prime, Megatron, or Starscream is this is the most popular Transformer and the most iconic, and that's what this list is about. Number 4 is Evel Knievel. Almost more than they remember the man himself, many people still fondly reminisce over the toys based on the stunt motorcyclist Evel Knievel, and a generation of children remember the Evel Knievel stunt cycle. The stunt cycle's rear wheel connected to an energizer, a box with the flywheel powered by turning a handle. The occasional scraping of knuckles at this energizing stage was compensated by a joyous surge. In a few seconds of motion, a small white plastic Evel Knievel could be made to overcome various obstacles. It was promoted by impossibly exciting adverts promising gyro power, sending him over 100 feet at top speed, up and over 4-foot ditches. Evel Knievel was a real-life superhero to millions of 1970s children, and the 40th anniversary of his jump over 13 buses at Wembley Stadium on 26th of March 1975 will have many British adults reminiscing of their childhood, and in particular their treasured toy. The stunt cycle wasn't the only one. There was also a chopper, the Superjet cycle, the Strato cycle, enabling wide-eyed children to chance to recreate the idol's exploits. Forums and auction sites have provided an outlet for nostalgia on both sides of the Atlantic. British forum posters detail fond memories of the cycle, taking off like a bat out of hell. Ramps made from Beano annuals, collisions with vases, and riding over people's feet into drains and fireplaces. There are varying opinions as to whether the cycle's real-life performance matched their advertising potential. Jackie Robbins, 49, from Cornwall, remembers playing to destruction her first toys in 1975. She now runs an Evel Knievel stunt cycle toy Facebook page. Believe it or not. 17 years ago, she set out to merely replace her original cycles, but ended up with a collection of Evel Knievel-related items worth £7,000. Her most valuable pieces, among the most expensive to be found on eBay, a 1977 silver high jumper stunt cycle worth around £1,000, and a 1973 first edition stunt cycle. The stunt cycle underwent some cosmetic changes during its production, mainly to reduce the manufacturing costs, the first edition having chrome features and painted highlights. It's now immensely collectible. Use values of the collector's market have risen annually, the advent of the sites like eBay being godsends for them, says Robbins. Collecting is addictive, and once you start, you find yourself seeking out the obscure, and also then having to have every variation. Robbins uses her Facebook page to alert fans to items appear on eBay, emphasising factory sealed, or especially rare credentials where appropriate. She gives price advice and instructions on repairing damaged products. In the UK, the toys were made Ideal's Wokingham factory from 1974 to 1981, and there are several factors that ensured a toy representation of an American motorcycle stuntman would become implanted in British popular culture. And that's why it comes in at number 4 on my iconic toy list. In at number 3, we have the G.I. Joe USS Flagg. There is no greater status symbol for the fans of G.I. Joe in 1985 than the USS Flagg aircraft carrier from Hasbro. Named after General Lawrence J. Flagg, the comic book character that created the G.I. Joe team, and later slain by Cobra, and inspired by the actual USS Nimitz Navy aircraft carrier. USS Flagg was a towering hunk of plastic measuring just over 7 feet long and 3.5 feet wide. During its initial release, it was the largest playset aimed for boys in existence and sold for $110. That's about $258 in today's money. With the box itself that measured 42 inches wide and remains the largest G.I. Joe toy ever created. That there was even a conversation at Hasbro when someone suggested making a 7.5 foot long aircraft carrier is worth noting. Dan Larson of Toy Galaxy said that this video love letter to the USS Flagg, that it wasn't dismissed as an utterly ridiculous logistic nightmare and definition of impossible, it makes itself a miracle. Well, the aircraft carrier has plenty of features like electronic public address system, allowing broadcasting the player's voice, a 2-piece utility vehicle, radar, missile launchers, and an admiral's launch, an elevator deck, and a arrestor cable, making playtime worthwhile. Its main purpose was to house and hold the other G.I. Joe vehicles, planes, and helicopters, meaning this playset was more of an interactive storage container and glorified status symbol. This is not a toy, it's not a vehicle, this is not a playset, this is the USS Flagg. A thing so great that your collection must be built around it, near it, or on it, Larson says. The USS Flagg was not a toy that was traditionally played with on its own. Rather, this was a gift catering towards the wealthier children. Not only did you need the accessories to make the USS Flagg worthwhile, but you also needed to have the bedroom or play space to make playing with the carrier manageable. It doesn't move, said the G.I. Joe expert, collectively known as G.I. Joeberg. Assuming you have a room large enough to move it around, you can't. Once you lay it down there, it has to stay there. In addition to the monstrous structure, The USS Flagg came with what the people behind G.I. Joe considered to be one of the greatest action figures ever produced by the Hasbro G.I. Joe vintage line. Admiral Keelhaul, the driver of the entire USS Flagg aircraft carrier, has the highest rank of any member of the G.I. Joe squad. With a wholly original body mould, Keelhaul is one of the most unique designed figures. Weigh him against anything else produced in the vintage line. His details are top notch, G.I. Joe says. Originally exclusive to the USS Flagg, Keelhaul was later sold individually in 1986, but was discontinued domestically in 1987. It was made available via mail order as part of the Special Mission Drivers set in 1989, and leftover figures would later pop up in arcades and kennels across the United States as prize options in 1993. According to G.I. Joe, it's toy history. It's a killer parking space for some of the best G.I. Joe toys ever produced. According to Larson at Toy Galaxy, if your dreams are as big as the absolute undeniably greatest action figure playset vehicle ever in the history of machinable plastics, this is a must-have. Today, USS Flagg playsets in Pogue Edition are sold for a few $100s, with mint condition unowned boxes selling for several thousands. As for the kids who were gifted this gargantuan beast during the Christmas of 1985, the year that was height of the Cabbage Patch Dolls, Transformers and Care Bears, they were the luckiest ones of them all. In at number 2, we have the Masters of the Universe, Castle Grayskull. One of the most iconic images from the Masters of the Universe comes to life in this interactive playset by Mattel. The Castle Grayskull playset contains many interactive features to keep kids busy for hours on end. Such features include a trapdoor is elevated when the throne is rotated, a working elevator, a lockable drawbridge door, and a laser cannon mounted on the roof. The set also includes a weapons rack, which had several weapons only released in this set, as well as recoloured weapons released with the figures from the line. Castle Grayskull was conceived as a central location for the battle between forces of good and evil. The original playset was released in 1982, and all other depictions of the castle originate from it. It is a large hollow green castle consisting of two halves connected by a hinge. The toy is designed to open for play and close for storage. A carrying handle is moulded to the top of the castle, a large skull decorates the front, and a hinged drawbridge allows access to the interior through the mouth's opening. The interior has a throne room, elevator and trapdoor. Multiple accessories are also included: a ladder, removable flagpole, turret cannon, weapons rack and 9 weapons, and a battle trainer device. The original concept art and prototype show a large swamp surrounding the castle, which is going to be printed on a playmat that will be positioned beneath the playset. This moat playmat was not included in the finished toy in order to keep the costs down. Castle Grayskull was made as a playset for both the 1980s and the 2002 Masters of the Universe toy lines. The 1980s incarnation was one of the most popular Christmas presents for pre-adolescent boys in the 1980s. The castle was user-friendly, possessing many settings and functions suitable for the 5-inch action figures it was built to complement. Castle Grayskull was re-released by Mattel for inclusion in the Masters of the Universe Classics action figure line mid to late November 2013, and a new character named Castle Grayskullman, described as a heroic embodiment of Castle Grayskull, was created by Daniel Benedict and was the winner of the 30th anniversary Create a Character contest. The figure of Castle Grayskullman was released in November 2012. So that's number 2 on the list. Let's find out what's number 1. Yes, at number 1 we have the Millennium Falcon. Kenner's Millennium Falcon was one of the spaceships that was designed early for the 3¾ line of action figures. The Star Wars Collector's Archive website mentions that the Kenner employees had to work pretty hard to finish the wooden patterns they were used to create the steel production moulds so that the ship could be sold in time for Christmas 1979. Then again, employees had to destroy thousands of new Falcons in 1984 when interest in Star Wars had waned. Since the ship could almost be regarded as a character and continued to play an important role in the sequels, almost every kid wanted this toy. It measured about 53 centimeters long and compared to a figure of Han Solo about 10 centimeters tall, was almost 4 times too small. If Kenner had built the Falcon to a 1:1 scale with the figures, it would have been about 190 centimeters long. Hasbro almost achieved this with the big edition of the Falcon in 2008, which measured about 82 centimeters. Of course, the cost of such a behemoth would have been unthinkable in the late 1970s, and despite a smaller size, Kenner's toy turned out to be a superb rendering of the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. It will take any fan just a few moments to notice that the toy is based on the Falcon's appearance in A New Hope. The ship stands on 3 landing gears, and while all 3 are retractable, the forward gear can be used while simulating flight, and it can be hinged into an opening. The cockpit is where one can easily see the repercussions of a scaled down toy. It can only hold 2 figures instead of the 4 which we saw in the movies, and it isn't even an easy fit. The canopy can also be removed, but it's something I wouldn't advise. The biggest asset of the toy is a large living area that can hold a lot of action figures. Although Kenner misplaced the area compared to its location in the movies, it was the only place that offered enough room for the playability of the figures. There are several pegs to position your figures, and Luke Skywalker could train with the remote, which was a black ball hanging on a cord and a sport arm. Sounds pretty crude, but we all knew what the system was. This particular place could also be covered up by a false floor in order to hide your figures or weapons from Imperial inspection, and the floor could be attached to the removable roof cover in the living area when not in use. A nice feature that took me years to discover. Another compartment had the holographic table where you could play an imaginary game of Jedi, though there were no hollow figures on it. The gunner station on the top gun was also situated in the play area, and it connected to a rotating chair that seated figures and made a clicking sound. The rest of the ship remained fairly consistent with the version seen in the film. On the top of the ship was a dish-shaped rotating radar. A small opening rested between the forward mandibles, and on the side of the toy was a compartment for a large C battery that produced a weird battle alert sound. Putting the Falcon together was not an easy task, since many parts still had to be assembled and a lot of stickers, described as really exciting on the instruction sheet, had to be attached. Perhaps the greatest asset of the Falcon is a toy combined both ship and playset. Since the Falcon herself was never updated, additional features from the other movies, top hatch, medical bunk, weren't included with the ship. It's a classic toy that can still be found because a lot of kids used to have one. Like the Falcon itself, they're nearly indestructible. But finding a complete piece, remote, ramp struts and support arm in good condition without discoloured plastic and stickers would be more difficult. The toy came in a large box with an instruction sheet and a sheet of stickers retailing for $30. Over the years it was released, the 3 different photos on the cover. The first photo, 1979, features stormtroopers patrolling outside the ship. A boy can be seen playing with the toy as well. On the side, some of the action features were shown in photos of the smuggling compartment, the holographic table, remote, the gunner station and the cockpit. This box was released again in 1970 with the logo Empire Strikes Back, but a new photo was issued and the second box was released in 1981. The scene on this box depicted Cloud City along with 6 lots of different figures, including Dengar, who has never been seen on Bespin. The second box was released again in 1983, but with the Episode 6 logo. A third photo was issued and the final box was sold in the same year, this time featuring figures from The Return of the Jedi. This scene is less reminiscent of the movie because it has 9 Num on Tatooine, and the heroes getting ready to face Boba Fett, Reese and Wolf, the Klaatu figure. It also shows a prototype version of the Luke Jedi Knight with a blue saber and a black cloak. All US boxes had line art on the front, photo on the backside to save production costs, and the photos of the Falcon features were never updated with new releases. Because of star quality, the Falcon was released in most countries around the world where the toys were available. Canada released its first edition in 1979 in a full printed bilogal box with the designation Le Nav Spatial Falco Millennia. An exclusive release with figures of Han and Chewie were also sold by Sears in the Empire Strikes Back logo. An offer was available in 1980, 1981 and 1982. The Canada Falcon had the original 1979 photo on the box, but it was later updated with logos from the two sequels. Palitoy UK released the Falcon with the first photo, but instead used the logo from The Empire Strikes Back. In France, the Falcon wasn't released in 1982, but it came in a UK box with the French notification sticker of the Empire Strikes Back logo. Stephen Fourcault notes in the history of French Star Wars merchandising and marketing that the toy caused issues for retailers because it was expensive and the box took up too much space on the shelves. In 1983, the Falcon was reissued in a bilingual box and sold in several European countries. Content of the box was in English, French, Dutch, German and Italian, with a cover that features a Best Bin photo and an Episode 6 logo. The Falcon was also released in Mexico by Lily Ledy, with the original photo of Tatooine. The Halcon Millennium Falcon was also nearly the same as the Kenner one, but with the blue parts were a bit brighter, and the back of the box featured line art, but the colours added to the figures. If Kenner's line of Star Wars toys had continued, a special one-man cargo handler vehicle that could fit between the Falcon's mandibles was planned to be released. This ship was later named the FLER Freight Load External Rover. Hasbro continued to use the original mould of the Falcon in a couple of adaptations in the model line, up until the release of the Big Falcon in 2008. The vintage Millennium Falcon is one of Kenner's crowning achievements in the Star Wars vintage line. Each self-respecting toy museum should definitely reserve a prominent place for this particular toy, and that is why it is number 1 in my iconic toy top 5. If you totally disagree with me and there's some toys I missed out there, let me know in the comments below and maybe I can add them on to part 2. So thank you for watching, I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, and above all, may the toys be with you.